Hey everyone, welcome back. So another concept in identity and access management which we are going to learn in this video with a complete hands-on demo that will be IAM role. So we have learned about the users, groups and policy being attached to users or a group. Then why this concept has been introduced. So IAM role can be used as an identity by application. So let me give you an example. Let's say you as a user, some particular person want to access, let's say something like list of IAM user. Okay. So as a user, one can go inside your, I would say, management console and just simply list down all things or whatever service you want to interact, and same policy one can attach with individual user. Or you are a part of some group and policy has been attached to group, and based on whatever permission has been defined inside that particular policy, you will have access to those particular service. But let's say instead of human, I would say you want some machine, like let's say this is like EC2 machine. Okay, that is elastic cloud computing machine, wants to access some service, like let's say listing down all the user in IAM, or maybe let's say create another EC2. Okay, create another EC2, or maybe list down all the buckets in a S3. So in that particular case, you have to provide the IAM role attached to from where you want to access your different services. Okay, so here the IAM role delegate the access to the user so that individual application which is trying to access the different service, let's say this EC2 even try to access some database, so it do not require those username, password or multi-factor authentication here. Instead of that, some role has been assigned so that this role become help us to delegate the access to user, application and a service that do not normally have access to your AWS resources. Okay, like here you can attach to policy also to the IAM role. So IAM role is nothing but I would say like a user, but it's not for a human, it's for a different application. Okay, so how we are going to perform the complete demo. So first ever thing, we are going to create one IAM role for the EC2 instance. That means whatever you are going to create, that is for the EC2 machine. Okay, now afterwards we are going to attach some permission. Let's say permission I just want to provide to my EC2 instance like a IAM read only access. So first I'll just attach those policy to the IAM role. Then we are going to create the EC2 instance, and from EC2 instance we'll just simply test. What we are going to test through some command line, we are just trying to list down all the user. Definitely the role has not been attached, so it should not work. And the last one will be, we are going to attach those role with EC2 and we will test it. Okay, so without much further ado, let me just go to my cloud console, and the very first thing, okay, what I'm going to do, there are two things we are going to use. So EC2 I'm going to open in another tab and I am in a same tab. Okay, so we won't touch EC2 for now. Let me go to roles. Now there are multiple ways you can create the role. There is only one kind of role we are discussing for right now. There are few roles by default being defined and we don't need to worry about it. So trusted entity type, that through which entity you want to access a different AWS services. So there are 5 different ways you can define this trusted entity type, like AWS services. So in this particular case, we will go ahead with the AWS services like EC2 or Lambda want to perform some action on other AWS services. Or you can just go ahead with the AWS account, other AWS account want to access this thing, or some web identity, SAML 2.0 federation, custom policy. So for all of them, we'll have a separate demo later on. So for now, AWS services. Now use case, that which services you are going to use as a use case. So some commonly used services like EC2 and Lambda. But let's say in other services like a batch wants to use some S3 service. So in that particular case, you can create a role for batch. Now in this particular demo, we are going to use this EC2. Okay, now there are a lot of use cases for specified service. So very first one we are going to select like allow EC2 instance to call AWS service on your behalf, I mean to say. Okay, so we'll just go ahead with the very first one. If you just have a look at any other one, let's say spot fleet auto scaling, that means allow auto scaling to access and update EC2 spot fleets on your behalf. So that role has been defined for some different purpose. Or schedule instance, that means allow EC2 schedule to manage your instance on your behalf. So those role has been defined for different purpose. Now for this one, EC2 wants to call other service, and other service are nothing but listing of all IAM user. Let me press next. Okay, what permission I just want to allow for now? So that will be some IAM related permission, and we can give IAM full access. I can give IAM read only access. That is a good enough for me. Okay, so just listing and get all those information. We are just simply going to list down all the user. Okay, this is the role for EC2. Okay, so far we have just created EC2 role. In a description you can just simply provide allow EC2 instance to call AWS service, specifically in this particular case let's say IAM services on your behalf. And this is like a trust policy where it is just going to assume some role. Okay, so this is the policy we have attached, and let me create the role. So the role has been created, role for EC2. Now we'll move to our EC2 instance, and currently we don't have any EC2 instance running. So I'm just quickly going to create one demo EC2 instance which is not having a, all those default configuration, no specific configuration we are interested. Let's say role demo instance. Okay, that's good enough. I'll just go ahead with the Amazon Linux one, 64-bit. That's a good enough for me, and for me this free trial is a good one. I'm not going into detail about the EC2 because for Elastic Cloud Computing the separate series I'm going to create. You can use this key pair to securely connect, but we are just simply going to connect directly from our browser itself. Okay, create a security group, allow SSH traffic, that's what we require, otherwise you just cannot connect with that. And once you are not in a position to connect, that means you won't be able to test it. Okay, so I guess this is the good enough for me. In advanced setting, I am just interested you to know role. Now you can see IAM instance profile. That means this is something like a role you want to attach with that. But for now, I'm not going to attach anything, and without that only, I am just simply going to test with all those default options. Okay, so I guess it's a good enough. Let me quickly launch the instance. Okay, proceed without keypad. That's fine actually. Okay, so it just started launching the instance, and instance is very quick. You can have a look at successfully initiated launch of instance. Okay, I think it's not being created. Yeah, I think it just started. Okay, it started running. That's perfectly fine. Okay, now I can go inside my instance, and I have shown you that we haven't attached any kind of role into it. You can have a look at the complete description for our EC2 instance. You can go to security. You can have a look at there is no role currently being attached. Now the next thing is we just want to connect to this particular instance. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select this instance and let me connect it. So on port 2022, I'm just simply going to connect. Let me connect directly from here. So it's just going to open in another tab, EC2 instance connect. So from here, first ever thing is, let's say if we want to connect and call to any other services, can I change fonts little better actually? Better in the sense, I just want a little darker one. Okay, that's perfectly fine. I can make it little big screen. Okay, Now suppose I just want to have like AWS IAM list users. If I just try for this one directly, you will be able to see unable to locate the credential, and you can configure credential by running AWS configure. So if you just try for this AWS configure now, oops, something else I just copied. Okay, AWS configure. Okay, so it just asked me for some access ID and access key, some region and output. So this way, if I have access key, I can just simply put it, and via those access key to whom, I mean from particular user we have created those access key, one can have a complete access for whatever policies has been defined. Now that will anyhow gonna work, but this is not the objective in this particular demo. So the idea is that if you keep this credential here, you will lose, I mean, lot of flexibility and lot of control from your machine. Anyone who is having the access to this particular machine, they will get all those credentials and they will access for anything. So that's what we don't want. We want to control those things from the outside through role way. Okay, so we have seen that once we try for AWS IAM list user, I can just simply paste. Oh, oops, it's not copying actually correctly. Let me copy and paste it. Yeah, done. So we have seen that unable to locate the credential. We don't have a credential for now. So the next thing what we are going to do from the instance itself, I'll just go for an action. Let's say security, modify IAM role, and I'm just simply going to change to role for EC2, and let me update my role. Now once the role being updated, I can just try for same command once again, and you can see all the user who has been created inside this IAM has been listed here. Bob, John, user console. You can have a look at all the users are available here. Now suppose in this particular role, I just don't want to provide this access of IAM read only. Okay, and if I just remove this particular policy from the role, and afterwards if I just try for let me clear and let me just try once again, you'll be able to see we didn't get any response, but the error become different, that the role has been attached, but the error occur because of access denied. So earlier there is a credential issue because it didn't have any kind of credential. As there is no role attached, it was just looking for some kind of credential, that through those credential I can just try to connect with any other services. But now in this particular case, it has some role attached, but within those role there is no permission. Okay, because any permission, no permission has been given to the role for EC2 which we have created. It is not authorized for this particular action. Now let me just quickly once again add attach policy. Let's say IAM read only. Let me add permission and let me just try same thing once again. Most of the time it just propagate all those changes very fast. Yeah, done. So immediately we got the output. Now let's say apart from this IAM read only access, there is one more access also I want to give, like let's say S3 read access. So I just want to list down all the user. So S3 read only access, see, listing all those stuff. So let me select and let me add permission. Okay. So now from the EC2 instance connect, let's just try to access. So for that I'm going to use AWS, let's say S3. If you don't know the command, you just keep pressing tab, and within a tab you will be able to get what are the other sub commands you will be able to perform. So ls will list down all the buckets, and currently we don't have any buckets, so it has given us the empty response. Okay, now how will verify whether some response are coming or not? I can just simply go to S3. Let me quickly create some bucket. Definitely bucket creation permission we haven't added, so even if we try for AWS S3 bucket creation, we won't be able to do it. So let's say role IAM bucket. Oops, role IAM, some number I'm just giving. Okay, remaining all name, I'm just going to keep it as it is. Okay, buckets being created. I can just go back here and you can see one bucket being listed. That means it's working fine. Okay, so that is the complete part of our demo. Now at the end, you just need to clean up all the resource. So this particular bucket also I don't require. So I'm just simply going to delete first bucket. Then EC2 instance also I don't require. So let me select, and where is the option to delete it? We don't have option to delete, or I'm not getting. There is a terminate and delete instance. Okay, so I guess successfully initiated. Meanwhile, I can go to my role also, and I think nothing to worry about the role. Let's just keep one role as it is in case in future if we require it. Okay, let me make sure that this particular instance is gone. It's just shutting down, I guess. Okay, so that's all about this video, and I hope you enjoy listening this video. So please do like and comment on my video and subscribe to my channel, My Study, and I'll get back to you in the next one.